Let me ask you something uncomfortable. Why are you still not happy? You've got a smartphone more powerful than a NASA rocket. You've got social media, designer clothes, a job with a title. You eat 3 times a day, binge Netflix, and scroll reels made to entertain your every second. And still, in your silence, you are empty. Why? Because what you call happiness is a deception. Beautifully packaged, expertly marketed, deeply hollow. This is not a rant. This is a mirror. You don't lack happiness. You've been taught the wrong definition. Welcome to the greatest lie ever sold. Modern happiness. The illusion of having it all. They told you success would taste like happiness. So you chased it. Degree, job, car, house. You checked every box. But every checkbox only led to a new box. Now you're more stressed, more anxious, and more numb. What happened? You were deceived. Society whispered that if you worked hard, you'd earn freedom. But they never told you they were redefining freedom to mean better cages. You bought the lie. You think you've made it, yet you feel more lost than ever. Because the real wealth, peace, meaning, stillness, was never part of the package. You were chasing numbers, not life. And now your soul is overdrafted, even if your account is not. The mask of smiles that fools you. We live in a world of masks. Perfect photos, perfect captions, perfect smiles. But if I removed every filter from your social media life, what would be left? An exhausted heart and an empty room. You laugh in comments but cry in bed. And that's the problem. You've become fluent in faking joy. They sold you positivity and you bought suppression. They said, don't be negative, and you buried your pain deeper. The modern world doesn't teach you to feel, it teaches you to display. You're not happy, you've just learned to look like it. Real joy isn't loud, it's silent, and right now, your silence is screaming. Pleasure is not happiness. Let's break something now. Pleasure is not happiness. They feel similar, but one is a spark, the other is fire. Pleasure is the quick dopamine hit, the drink, the scroll, the applause. Happiness is enduring, peaceful, invisible, self-generated. Modern society has replaced happiness with pleasure, and it's addictive. We are junkies, not for substances, but for distractions. You keep chasing small highs while drowning in long lows. That's not your fault, it's design. They engineered this treadmill, because if you found true happiness, you wouldn't need what they're selling. You'd be free, and a free mind is a threat to a controlled world. The consumer trap is brutal. You are not a person in this system. You are a product. Every algorithm, every ad, every design is created to make you feel incomplete. So you'll keep buying, scrolling, wanting. Happiness has been repackaged as consumption. Buy this, wear that, travel here, eat this. And when you do it all, you still feel empty. Because consumption doesn't fill you, it distracts you. The happiest moments of your life had nothing to do with money. They were raw, real, quiet. But now, you don't even trust joy unless it's Instagrammable. You've traded simplicity for stimulation, and you're starving in the noise. The achievement myth is true cope. You've been taught that happiness is at the top of the hill, so you climb, achievement after achievement. But every time you get there, the hill moves. That's the scam. The system feeds your ego, not your soul. It keeps you striving, but never arriving. You weren't born to chase titles. You were born to live truth. And truth is not measured in trophies. Real fulfillment is not a destination, it's presence. But presence doesn't sell. Stillness can't be monetized. So they sell you noise. And you buy it with your time, energy, and life, believing one day it'll all be worth it. When in fact, the cost was your life itself. The addiction to approval is older than you think. You chase likes, hearts, shares, applause. You refresh your screen hoping someone else validates your existence. And the cruel irony? The more you chase their approval, the further you drift from your own. The world has conditioned you to believe that external applause is the only confirmation that you matter. But let me ask you, when did you last approve of yourself without an audience? When did you last look in the mirror and say, I am enough, without needing someone to echo it. Modern society has turned you into a puppet, your strings pulled by the fleeting validation of strangers. But here's the bitter truth. If the world gives you your worth, it can just as easily take it away. That applause you're craving, it ends the moment you stop performing. That admiration, it's rented, not owned. True happiness isn't about being seen by others. It's about seeing yourself clearly, without the fog of society's expectations. You were not born to be liked. You were born to be real. Stop prostituting your soul for validation. Approval is cheap. Integrity is rare. Choose to be rare. When you approve of yourself from within, the world's opinions become irrelevant. That's when you become free. The myth of the perfect life is the greatest lie ever told. Look around. Everyone's smiling, traveling, dining in perfect cafes, showing off sculpted bodies and curated joy. But it's a facade, a highlight reel masquerading as reality. And yet you compare your raw, messy life to their edited illusions. You punish yourself for not having their perfect morning routines or their six-figure incomes at 25. But perfection is a lie sold to the insecure. It's the new religion, worshipped through filters, rituals of productivity, and sermons of never enough. Let me tell you what perfection really is. It's a prison. It suffocates your authenticity and turns your uniqueness into shame. Society thrives when you feel inadequate, because your pain funds their products. Your self-doubt keeps industries alive. But you are not broken for being human. You are not behind. You are not less. Perfection is not the goal. Presence is. Your scars are not flaws. They are proof that you survived. So stop chasing perfect and start embracing real. Your life may be chaotic, uncertain, unfinished, but it's yours, and that makes it beautiful. Stop measuring your worth with someone else's ruler. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be alive. And that, my friend, is more than enough. The worship of busyness over comfort. You wear your exhaustion like a badge of honor. I'm so busy, you say with pride, as if burnout is a trophy and rest is weakness. But let me ask, what are you really busy doing? Running on a treadmill of to-do lists that never end? Hustling for worth in a world that profits off your fatigue? Society has convinced you that your value is in your productivity, that slowing down means falling behind. But here's the twist. You're not living, you're just surviving. You confuse motion with progress. You're always in a hurry, but you're going nowhere. The busiest people are often the most lost. You don't need to do more. You need to feel more. Rest is not laziness. Stillness is not failure. In silence, you find truth. In stillness, you find yourself. Busyness is the anesthesia you use to avoid facing your emptiness. But eventually, the noise stops, and all you're left with is a life unlived. Don't let the world convince you that constant motion equals success. Reclaim your time, reclaim your soul, because in the end, no one wishes they worked more. They wish they had lived more. Don't confuse being busy with being alive. The prison of comfort is true prison. You think you're free, but you're not. You're just comfortable, and that's the most dangerous prison of all. Comfort is the silent killer of dreams. It seduces you with safety but robs you of growth. It whispers, don't risk, don't change, stay here. And you listen. But what you don't see is that your comfort zone is shrinking your soul. You weren't born for comfort. You were born for conquest, of self, of fear, of mediocrity. Every great life begins where comfort ends. And yet, you choose easy over meaningful, convenience over challenge, numbness over pain. But there is no transformation without struggle. There is no evolution without discomfort. Comfort feeds the ego. Discomfort feeds the soul. You must learn to love the fire of growth more than the blanket of ease. You must let your pain refine you, not define you. So step into the unknown. Walk where it scares you. Speak when your voice trembles. That is where life begins. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Burn your comfort zone. Watch what rises from the ashes. That's the real you, unleashed and alive. The lie of stability sold is brutal. You were told to seek stability, a steady job, a predictable routine, a fixed identity. But what they didn't tell you is that stability is often just another word for stagnation. Life isn't meant to be stable. It's meant to be dynamic, to evolve, to break and rebuild, to risk and rise. But society has sold you comfort disguised as security, and now you live in fear of change. You cling to jobs you hate, relationships that drain, beliefs that no longer serve, because the devil you know feels safer than the unknown. But let me ask you, how stable is a life built on fear? How secure are you if you're dying inside just to maintain appearances? Growth is messy, change is painful, but it's also the birthplace of transformation. Trees shed their leaves, snakes shed their skin. Why do you cling so tightly to what's decaying inside you? True strength is not in resisting change, it's in embracing it. You don't need more stability, you need more courage. Let the winds of uncertainty shake you. Let life disrupt your plans. It's not chaos, it's evolution. And the more you resist it, the more you suffer. Stop trying to anchor yourself in shallow waters. The depth you seek lies in the unknown. The consumer's illusion. You think you can manage yourself perfectly, but you're not. You're being marketed to, molded, manipulated every moment. Your desires aren't yours. They were planted in you by screens, slogans, and celebrities. You buy things not because you need them, but because they told you it would fill the emptiness. That shirt, that car, that phone, it won't heal the ache. Because the hole in your soul isn't material, it's spiritual, and no purchase can fix that. But society thrives when you stay unsatisfied. That's the business model. Keep them hungry, keep them spending. But here's the harsh truth. Every time you consume without awareness, you feed your own emptiness. You trade peace for possessions. You trade presence for pleasure. You trade your truth for trends. Wake up. You're not a consumer, you're a creator. You don't need more things, you need more meaning. You don't need another gadget, you need connection. Real joy isn't bought, it's built. Through depth, through discipline, through detachment. The moment you realize that you are not what you own is the moment you start owning your life. Stop letting ads define your desires. Look deeper. Ask, do I really want this? Or was I told to? When you stop consuming blindly, you start living consciously. That's freedom. The cult of hustle is real. Grind 24/7. Sleep is for the weak. Work till you drop. That's what they told you. That your worth is measured by how much you bleed. But let me tell you something they won't. Hustle isn't always holy. Sometimes it's a mask for emptiness, a distraction from yourself, a drug to avoid stillness. You chase success so aggressively you forget why you even started. You turn life into a to-do list. You become a machine, efficient, productive, empty. Society has glorified burnout and labeled it ambition. But exhaustion isn't a badge of honor, it's a symptom of disconnection from your purpose, from your heart, from your soul. You're not here to grind till you die. You're here to live fully. And yes, work hard, but not for trophies. Work for legacy. Work with meaning. Rest is not a weakness. Reflection is not laziness. The real warriors know when to step back and breathe. You don't need more hustle. You need more harmony. Listen to your exhaustion. It has wisdom. It's not just tiredness. It's misalignment. So slow down. Be still. Ask yourself, what am I really chasing? Because success without soul is the ultimate failure. The glorification of image over essence. They taught you to polish your surface while ignoring your soul. To curate your identity like a brand. To present a version of yourself that earns approval, not authenticity. But when the lights go out and the audience leaves, who are you then? You wear your mask so well, even you forgot who you really are. But let me ask, how long will you keep sacrificing truth for applause? How long will you keep watering the image while the roots rot? Image is temporary. Essence is eternal. One can be taken. The other must be uncovered. The more time you spend performing, the less time you spend becoming. But here's the secret. The real ones see through the mask. They crave your rawness, not your perfection. They don't need you polished. They need you present. Let go of the need to impress. Embrace the need to express. You were not made to fit into a mold. You were made to shatter it. Show your scars. Show your shadows. That's where your light lives. Because when you live from your essence, not your image, you stop being a product and become a person again. And that's when people truly see you. The fear of being forgotten. You chase legacy, immortality through fame. You want the world to remember you. But have you ever asked, why? Why this obsession with being remembered when you haven't even learned to remember yourself? You think a statue or a name on a plaque will save you from insignificance. But the truth is, most of the world will forget you, just like they forgot the billions before you. And that's okay, because your value was never in being remembered. It was in being present. Legacy isn't what you leave behind, it's what you leave within. The hearts you touch, the love you give, the courage you inspire. Fame fades, influence echoes. So stop trying to be eternal in history. Start being irreplaceable in humanity. Be kind when no one's watching. Be strong when no one claps. Be real when everyone's pretending. You don't need to be remembered by the masses. You just need to be unforgettable to a few. Let go of the fear of being forgotten. Live so fully that even if you're forgotten, the world still feels your warmth. That is immortality. The fantasy of control over you. You think you're in control, that if you plan enough, grind enough, prepare enough, you can outsmart chaos. But life laughs at your blueprints. It throws storms when you expect sunshine. It flips the script without asking for permission. And every time it does, you panic, you rage, you break. Why? Because you thought control was your shield. But in truth, it was your chain. Control is a false god. The more you cling, the more you suffer. The tighter you hold, the faster it slips away. Real peace doesn't come from controlling life. It comes from surrendering to it, from dancing with its uncertainty, from trusting that even the detours have meaning. You can't control the waves, but you can learn to surf. You can't predict the winds, but you can set your sail. Control is an illusion. Surrender is a superpower. Let life be messy. Let it surprise you. Trust the flow more than your fear. The day you stop fighting reality is the day you start living. Let go, not because you're weak, but because you're finally strong enough to. The myth of being enough is insane. They told you to chase being enough. That once you looked a certain way, earned a certain salary, achieved certain goals, you'd finally feel complete. But here's the harsh truth. Enough is a moving target. The more you chase it, the farther it runs. Society profits off your insecurity. It needs you to feel incomplete. That's how it keeps selling you solutions you don't need. Creams for your skin, titles for your ego, followers for your worth. But you were never meant to earn worth. You were born with it. You are not broken. You're buried. Beneath all the noise, all the conditioning, all the lies, they hid your wholeness from you. And now you spend your life proving you're enough when you've always been more than that. You don't need more validation. You need revelation. A rediscovery of your true self, beyond mirrors and medals. Being enough isn't a destination. It's a realization. And it begins the moment you stop measuring yourself by their ruler. You are not a number, not a trophy, not a profile. You are a soul, eternal, infinite, untouchable by the standards of this shallow world. Stop chasing enough. Start embracing you, raw, unfiltered, unfinished. Because the world doesn't need a perfect you. It needs a real you. The illusion of time is real. You keep saying, I'll do it tomorrow. Next year will be different. But what if there is no tomorrow? What if your last moment arrives quietly, without warning, without permission? Time is not promised. It's not something you own. It's something you borrow. Every breath is a loan. Every heartbeat is a gift. And yet you treat it like it's infinite. You scroll like there's always later. You delay love like it'll wait for you. You postpone your dreams like they're guaranteed. But nothing is. Not your job, not your health, not even your next sunrise. The clock is ticking, not to scare you, but to awaken you. What are you doing with this breath, this day, this chance? Your future isn't somewhere far away. It's shaped by every choice you make now. The real tragedy isn't death, it's regret. The moments unlived, the truths unspoken, the songs unsung. Stop waiting for the right time. There is no perfect moment. There's only now. Live like your soul's on fire. Love like it's your last day. Speak like the world depends on your voice. Because time is not your enemy. It's your reminder. Your life is not a rehearsal. This is it. Make it count. The trap of comfort. Comfort feels good until it kills you. It's the silent killer of dreams. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It seduces you with softness. It convinces you that struggle is unnecessary, that growth is overrated, that your current life, however unfulfilling, is good enough. But is it? Or have you just gotten used to mediocrity? Comfort zones are coffins with Wi-Fi. They keep you alive, but not living. Every great life requires a fight, a friction, a fire. But you've been trained to avoid discomfort, to take the easy route, to silence your hunger with distractions. And now, your soul is starving, while your ego sleeps soundly. Here's the truth. Growth begins where comfort ends. The greatest version of you is forged in discomfort, in the cold, in the silence, in the moments when quitting feels easier than continuing. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. Stop worshiping it. You weren't born for easy. You were born for elevation, for evolution, for endurance. Trade your couch for courage, your routine for risk. Stop asking, is this comfortable? Start asking, is this true? Because the path to purpose isn't paved in pillows, it's carved in pain. And only those brave enough to walk it ever find who they really are. You repeat what they say. You follow what they follow. You fear standing out. But let me ask you, have you ever truly thought for yourself? Or are you just an echo of 1,000 voices that came before you? Society doesn't want thinkers. It wants followers, repeaters, consumers of thought, not creators of it. But thought is your divine gift, your power, your rebellion. And yet, you trade it for likes, for trends, for belonging. You read headlines but never ask deeper questions. You memorize, but you don't understand. You agree to avoid conflict. But growth doesn't come from agreement. It comes from inquiry, from rebellion, from daring to think the unthinkable. You were not born to be a carbon copy. You were born to create, to challenge, to discover. Let the world mock your questions. Ask them anyway. Let them label you difficult. Be difficult anyway. Because every soul who changed the world started as an outcast. Stop fearing being misunderstood. Start fearing being forgettable. Your mind is not a prison. It's a canvas. Stop painting by numbers. Start painting in fire. You were born to think dangerously. So do it. Before your mind becomes another museum of borrowed opinions. The final lie, that this is all there is. They told you, this is life. Be realistic. Don't dream too big. Settle down. Fit in. And like a good soldier, you complied. But your heart never stopped whispering. There's more than routine, more than fear, more than the small story they wrote for you. And you feel it, don't you? In the silence, in the stillness, in those moments when the world is quiet and your soul starts speaking. There is more, but you won't find it where everyone's looking. Not in applause, not in possessions, not even in achievements. You'll find it in surrender, in awakening, in choosing a path most avoid, the one within. You are not here to survive. You are here to transcend, to grow beyond your name, beyond your wounds, beyond your limits. You are a universe pretending to be a person, infinite, raw, radiant. Don't shrink to fit into their expectations. Expand, stretch, awaken. Life isn't about getting by. It's about coming alive. The greatest lie was that this is all there is. But the truth? You haven't even begun. Start now.